Okay, so here's a video on the topic that LLMs can't code, right? So I have a bug, right? And this is a bug on my type safe code base, which you can see here. It's quite big. Fundamentally, what happens is that when I now add a type safety to method, so I can add that and that checks the type safety. And the problem is that when I use the dict with capital, it fails. So you can see I get an error message here. But if I use with the lowercase there and there, you can see it passes, right? So here's what I do. I have these web servers that I can use, and this will basically allow me to say, you know, here's the repo, here's the information, here's the folder, and here's the kind of everything on it. So what this does is this will give me a file that has 152 files. So that's not the whole code base of just all the type safety stuff. So this is a good example, but I don't really know where the bug is. So I'm going a little bit wide just for reference. This thing has 54,000 tokens, right? And then I give this to Claude and say, hey, taking this and this test, which I showed you there, right? Can you try to figure it out? And then, you know, Claude goes, analyzes the bug, reads it, he sees the code base, looks at it, finds the bug, looks at it, does a nice bug analysis. There's a really good explanation. This is absolutely spot on, right? Like in a way, this analysis is absolutely spot on the problem, on where it is. You can see when you use dict from typing at origin returns a dict. So it's basically low, right? So then I put the fix here and then, you know, maps it up and then sees this document here that gives me the full fix. So you can see, it even says there's the original line, blah, blah, blah. So here it is. And here's the fix, which in this case is there. So let's take a look at it, right? So here's my code base. So let's put the text below. And now here's the code what it says. So let me just do the fix. So the fix is literally these 4 lines of code, which absolutely spot on. And then if I run my test, you'll see that my test now fails. And it fails because those exceptions were not raised, right? So I can now come in here. I can comment the bug, right? So I comment the bug. I add back now these tests, which is basically, so I validate this with the actual calls that should have not thrown an exception. And then what I usually do, and you can see it is now passes, which basically means that that did not raise an exception. And then we'll call this a regression test. And I add that to my pile of regression tests that I have here, right? And if you want to just double check that this is actually doing the right thing, if I comment that code again, and then you see the previous behavior, which was this exception, not enough values to expect. Now, the point here is that, you know, the kind of analysis that Claude did here is absolutely spot on, right? And I could have spent, you know, an hour digging into the code, but this saves me so much time, and this is dramatically improving the quality of my code because I can really go deep down in all these little bugs.